Good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, good morning, good morning. All right. Huh. So excuse this little, I got an ingrown hair. And of course, once I have an ingrown hair, what do? Pluck, 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 pluck. And now it's red. So can't catch a break. But hello, welcome. All right. Okay, cool. We have a good showing. Let's just get started. So what is going on in the world of Rhino? So Rhino Bucks, we sent out all of the promo coin yesterday. Well, actually not yesterday, Monday. It was all sent out from the May 5th offering. And actually, to my surprise, none of it's been sold. Everyone's got it. In fact, the individuals that had the largest amounts all emailed me and said, I got it, thank you. Now, mind you, that coin was purchased at 50 cents. It's currently sitting at 94, 95, meaning anybody with that coin has an immediate, 100% profit right now, and no one's selling it, which actually, I gotta tell you, when I saw that, and again, who knows, maybe someone sells it today, I have no idea, but it was heartening. Because you would only do that if you actually have the faith going forward, right? You wouldn't look at 100% gain and say, I don't want that, if you didn't have any faith that gain is only going to increase going forward, which is a good thing. So I'm quite pleased about that. The money that we're sending over to Rhino Bucks, I already sent to the account. It's already in Hey Frida. I just have to actually send it to the market. In fact, I was trying to do it very, very quickly, and then it was like 10:30, and I was like, I don't want to be late just to do this. So it's literally one button away. In fact, it's already in BUSD. It just needs to, so you'll see that after the call, which is good. Let's see. So the patent team we spoke to, they're going to have our final submission done by the end of the week. They're working on it. Everything that we have with them, they're incorporating, which is totally cool. I could not ask for more. Like, the patent team is really, it's funny, 2023 is a year of, I guess now as you're getting close to the end of the year, it's, by the way, when did it become December 20th? Seriously, when did it become December 20th? Like, Christmas is in 5 days. When did that happen? And I'm being silly, because obviously I know the date. But I'm not being 100% silly. I'm being like 90% silly, because there's 10% of me that really wants to just yell, when did it become December 20th? Which I think I might have just done, so welcome to the 10% of Anthony. But that's that. So what was I talking about? Oh, so 2023 is, and like I was saying, as you get to the end of the year, you start taking a little bit of a recap. What did this year mean? What was it? What is the good? What is the bad? What do you bring into 2024? And a lot of this year, yeah. Oh my God, right, Bill? So a lot of this year is personal to me, but I always say it, and I always will say, I have 3 children, Rhino, Christian, and Amaris. So there is no, oh, well, it's personal to Ant and, he goes off in his own little head. No, it's Rhino's, this is personal. This is my first child. And so it was a really personal year. And it's so hard to explain. Like, you only, like done. Like, for instance, whenever you take a look at the greats ever, like Vincent van Gogh, or you name the person, it's these individuals that had the most miserable lives. And in fact, their creations never even were worth anything until they died. Now, of course, that's not the baseline we're operating under. The analogy being, great things only are created or thought of when you're in such a level of despair. You're in just such a spot that the ordinary or the things that are typical don't speak to you, where you're thinking to yourself, there has to be another way, there has to be a solution, I'm going to find it. And in that sense, well, you have to kind of be at the brink and hopefully grab something as you come back. It's almost like for instance, say there's a well, and the well is 200 feet, and you want to get to the bottom of that well, but the only thing you have is a bungee cord. So you're in an airplane and well, actually, I guess you don't need to be on an airplane. You're at the top of the well and you have I guess, 190-foot bungee cord, right? So you jump down, and the belief being that extra 5 feet, the bungee cord will stretch a little bit. You can reach out. The point being, you did the math, right? The bungee cord is long enough. Okay. So when you jump down that well, the goal is that you can go down, grab what you need, and snap back up. Obviously, the challenges are if that bungee cord snaps, you got a problem, right? Like you're either dead or you're going to die in this 200-foot like well that nobody could get out of. Maybe the bungee cord wasn't long enough, you can't reach it, or maybe the bungee cord was too long and, right? Or when you snap up, do you catch the top of the well in time? Because if you don't, then you come back down because of gravity, but that gravity is not strong enough because it's the second derivative of falling, and you're never going to spring back up to ever get to that well, meaning you have to hopefully climb that rope. And is the rope strong enough that it's going to hold you while you climb? Are you strong enough that you could climb up that rope? So there's a lot of things. But should you ever find yourself in a situation where you don't have the decision to make that decision, right? Like, who would actually say, you know what, that sounds like fun. Strap me in and throw me down the well and let me see if I could grab the thing and come back. Nobody would ever say that. But should you find yourself in a moment in life where somebody actually takes you and throws you in that well with the bungee cord, are you going to have the wherewithal that during that moment, you say to yourself, wow, this SUCKS, like this is not fun. But it's like the saying, when you find yourself in hell, the only way out is through. What are you going to do? All right, I'm on this bungee cord. Let me grab that thing. I'm pleased to say that I have grabbed it. Now it's a matter of if we could get out of the well. Like we're now snapping back up. And unfortunately, so my life is always one that I really have a sense of my surroundings. Like I know the second, third, and fourth derivative of every decision I make. It's just it's how I grew up. This is like the one time where there's 7, there's 10, there's like 15 derivatives of variables that I no way could calculate. Where you actually just have to be true to yourself and say, okay, I'm going to continue being the most ethical person, being the most honest person, being the person that works harder than everyone else, being the person that's, stays, that's willing to outwork his opponent. It's like the saying, when your opponent can't swim, travel troubled waters. It's the way I live, right? Like I've always done that. I remember my favorite football player, maybe not my favorite, but like my favorite football player definitely at the moment was Tim Tebow. In fact, I actually saw him in college twice, and when he went to the NFL, he was on the Denver Broncos and then the Jets, and I was like the biggest Tebow fan. And the criticism was, he's not a good quarterback. He can't throw the ball. He can't do X, Y, Z. But the passion around him was, that guy will run through a wall. There is nothing that will stop that guy. And to his credit, he actually won a playoff game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it was like, oh my God. In fact, if you ever looked at his stats would be like, and now mind you, a regular quarterback would be like 20 for 30. He threw the ball 30 times, 20 of them were caught, 200 to 300 yards, maybe a touchdown or two. Tim Tebow's was like 4 of 19 for like 25 yards. And you're like, this guy can't throw, like he's not a good quarterback, but he won. And what they called was Tebow time, because the last 2 minutes of the game, regardless, if this man had the ball, they were winning. And it was like, you should go back, just if you're looking for something interesting to do, watch like highlights of Tebow time. And you'll see in a single year, I think there was 8 different occurrences where they were losing with like less than a minute to go, and the guy couldn't throw the ball all game. And then in that last minute, it just happened. And so my little cousin actually got me a book that Christmas. It was the Tebow book, and I read it. And the point of this whole story is one of the chapters in which Tebow was describing how when he was younger, he was able to always win competitions. And it wasn't that he was bigger or stronger than anybody else. In fact, he was the youngest of like a bunch of boys, and his other brothers were like bigger than him. And the example they use is there was, I think it was arm curl, like an arm curl contest with like 25-pound dumbbells. And there was a line of people, so like 6 people or whatnot. And the first person would curl, say like 15 or 20, but of course, with the knowledge of how much the first person did, the second person now had to had a goal to hit. No matter what, I'm going to get 21. And then the next person, like, no matter what, I'm going to get 22. And it really favored whoever was last in line because you knew the number you had to hit. The problem is when you don't know the number to hit, you're always at a disadvantage. The only way you can actually win is if you demoralize the next person to such a point that they say, I'm just giving up. And what Thibaut did was, I think he was like the third to last to go. And it was, 15, 20, 25. And this man did 80. The next person's like, I'm 80? I'm not, you win. Good job. Good job. And it reminds me when I was in high school, I met this kid, John Rahul. And he was the silliest kid. And I used to always call him Ray Hal, like Rahul, Ray Hal. And he would get so offended. And I go, I'm going to call you it forever. And he goes, no, you're not. And I was like, all right, let's have a competition and do it. So he was a bodybuilder. So he ate a lot of food, took in a lot of carbs, whatever. And I love eating. I'm Italian. So we had what we called now I'm dating myself, right? It was I remember when double cheeseburgers was on the dollar menu, right? For McDonald's. We were in high school. We didn't have money. So we went to McDonald's and we're going to have a double cheeseburger off, right? So the whole school got involved. Like it was a big thing. I was, fairly popular in high school and he was a good kid. Everyone liked him. He was one of my best friends actually. So we had the McDonald's, like everyone was there cheering, Anthony, John, whatever. So we get to one burger, double cheeseburger, 2, 3. I'm still going. I get to 5. He's at I think the 4th one. But he sees that I'm going. I'm not stopping. And but between you and I was stuffed. I was so full. But I'm not going to let him see. And I'm stuffing it. And I could see him looking up. And he goes ahead and asks, how many are you really going to eat? And before I even answered the question, I just continued finishing my burger. And as I'm unwrapping the other one, I go, I'm probably going to go to 15. He goes, no, really? I'm like, you want to bet? And he goes, you know what? I'm done. And I finished that 6th burger, even though I won. I couldn't breathe. He goes, why would you do that? I go, because I was hungry. That's why. And what I can tell you is he never, ever, ever thought to challenge me in a food contest again. And he's since passed away. And it kind of upsets me a little bit that he never knew that story, that I actually was full. But he died knowing, or at least thinking, I called him Ray Hal the rest of his life. Literally the rest of his entire life. I called him it in front of his family. Everyone knew that was. So the point of the story being, I only have one speed that I'm ever going to operate under. And if there's sometimes where things look, okay, they're difficult or they're not difficult, I can only say one sentence to you, and those that understand it, and those that don't. It is darkest before dawn. But when darkest, what do? Do you just sit there in the dark and say, God, I really hope the light comes out, or are you doing something? And what TED is a, what's the word I'm looking for? Is a not creation, but it's a manifestation of darkest before dawn. I mean, if you ever had to look at someone and say, wow, this man hasn't seen his kids in 109 days, he's afraid to go to the shop, right? Because if he sees his kids, he's not even allowed to go up to them. But God forbid they see him. What is he going to do? Turn around and walk away? You know how lonely that person is, that he's afraid to leave his own apartment because if he sees his kids that he spends all day hoping that he could see again. And then it's like, well, what does that person do? What do they create? TED? What? It's such a crazy idea. In fact, it's such an idea that there is no patent. Like, we're going to be the ones to have the patent. We have an actual patent attorney team that went through every patent twice. And there is no patent for what we created. We own the provisional patent right now. With the provisional patent, we then cite that, and we're putting in the non-provisional patent likely by the end of this week, maybe early next week. I just know that we're going to have the stuff we need. So much so that when I was watching Elon Musk on Lex Fridman, and I sent out the link, he's actually talking about, you know what? I wonder if I have it right over here. Stick with me. I can't see you. I know you can see me, but I want to just show one thing for those that haven't seen it. And actually, I just want to see it again. So that's where we're at with this. Okay, cool. So let me press this button. Okay. Now, let me do share screen. Okay. Now, what you're going to see here is this is the TV on my wall, which by the way, my grandmother, she's so cute. She has so when the whole divorce and everything happened, my apartment was cleaned out. I'm not allowed to say by who because I'm legally not allowed to say about anything about a certain person. But I walked in one day and my apartment was cleaned out. I didn't even have a TV. And my grandmother has a Walmart card and she's so cute. She has no income. She lives on fixed whatever. And she's like, so she went ahead and invited me over, and she's like, "We need to get you a TV." This point in my life, I'm like, I could care less about a TV. I don't care about any actual belongings. My mind is on my three kids, Rhino, Christian, and Amaris. Um, so she just wanted to get it for me, and I said to her, I go, "Well, Gran, if you get me, I want the best one. Like I'm not going to look at a TV and ever think, wow, I used to have it better. Like that's not what I'll ever invite into my life." So we got the largest TV in Walmart. I think that TV, I'm pointing at it, but what you're gonna, I think it's 89 inches. It was, I think, like $1,900. It's the dumbest, like you would never spend it. But she had a Walmart card. So she pays $60 a month to pay it off. And of course, I've paid it off ever since then for her. And, you know, I cleared her bill, which she never really spent much. So there was a couple extra bucks that, you know, by me saying thank you. But the point of the story being, when you see this TV, this is the TV in my house. And this is Lex Fridman talking to Elon. And now Elon has Grok, which is his version of AI, or his whatever. And what they're talking about made me actually record it because what they're describing is exactly what TED does. In fact, they're describing exactly our patent. And the point of what I'm about to show you is we went through the patent office. This patent didn't exist. We own the provisional, meaning that in the moment that Elon Musk, arguably the smartest man in the entire world, is talking about what he's talking about on TV, he's talking about it from a perspective of thinking out loud. His mind didn't even migrate or navigate to what that patent would actually look like, or should he have a patent. In fact, it's such a fanciful idea in the creativity of this man's mind that there's actually no even urgency for him to go ahead and do something about it. One day this will exist. We were already filing the patent for exactly what you're about to see. So I want to just show you, let's go into that, right? Like, let me do the volume all the way up.
Yeah, actually, frankly, AI will know you better than your friends know you. Most of your friends anyway.
Yeah, and as part of this,
let's do it all the way.
Yeah, actually, frankly, AI will know you better than your friends know you. Most of your friends anyway.
Yeah, and as part of this, it should also feed you advertisements in a way that's like, I mean, I like advertisements that are like well done, right?
Yeah.
The whole point is because it funds things. Like an advertisement that you actually want to see is a big success.
Absolutely. You want ads that are like advertising that is, if it's for a product or service that you actually need when you need it, it's content. And then even if it's not something that you need when you need it, if it's at least aesthetically pleasing and entertaining, it could be like a Coca-Cola ad, like they actually run a lot of great ads on the ecosystem, and McDonald's does too, and so you can do something that's like, well, this is just a cool thing, so basically the question is, do you regret seeing it or not? And if you don't regret seeing it, it's a win.
That, in a nutshell, is actually exactly what TED is. So TED has the built-in algorithm that measures, did you take action? Did you want to see it? If you didn't want to see it, tell us why. Which then extrapolates to the autonomous vision that TED will be able to actually take action autonomous and independent and unilateral to you, but with such a high probability, 95% plus, that if you should decline what TED did, like you ordered you Chinese food or something, TED will go ahead and cover the cost. But that's such a mark within the algorithm that, hey, this person did not accept it. We're now paying for it. Let's identify why and never do this again. Calculate that with the calculation that had the 95% certainty to begin with, and then do it again and again and again. Who knows? Maybe one day, maybe some people are just I have a TED because I get a bunch of free stuff. Cool, good for you. TED will never give you free stuff in the future, right? Maybe TED is actually able to identify you through your face on your phone. It does the eyes and all the rest. Like that's all future stuff. But the point being, when you get thrown down that well and you visit the darkest part of what you ever thought was humanly possible, and you're still living it, what do you find? What do you do? Now, I don't think that I have the ability to bring TED into the world. I mean, I think we could make the prototype. I don't think I could ever reach the heights of what we're describing in TED, but I think that I know that. I think, which is why so instinctually at such an early stage, we went ahead and just acquired the patent, because I think I can describe it. I think I can share it. I think I can detail what it does. I think I could be in a room. I think I could talk to someone and say, this is what this does. This is what this would do for you. Do you want it or do you not? You loved me once, but I forgot, right? Like it goes to tell me now, tell me. Anyway. But I think that we can do. And who owns that patent? Rhino Bucks, right? That's 100% of that patent's owned by Rhino Bucks. So God forbid one day someone's like, oh, okay, we would like to license this. We'll give you 5% royalties for life. You get 7% royalties. You get 3. What is that number? What's that recurring that comes in? What is that value run? I don't know, but I know it's a very, very large number. I know that's the number I'm looking for. I know that's where I'm going with that. Because I can't do that, right? Like there's just no way I can do that. But what would that do? The coolest part about that is that when you own that, you control the algorithm, right? Like you control the coding. If you've ever had political aspirations, which I can tell you right now are quite, the force is strong with that one. Could everyone that ever held this have a good understanding of who you are without ever having to run an ad, right? Like there's a lot of things that are culminating and being built, but the people that have been part of Rhino, the people that own Rhino, the people that stay loyal to Rhino, the people that stay owning Rhino, they're the most important people in my life because they are Rhino, right? Like when I say I have 3 children, it's not Rhino, Christian, and Amaris, but investors aren't right. Like that's who Rhino is. It's everyone. I would sooner die than anyone that ever got into Rhino saying, you know what? I used to know this person. I did get into this thing and it worked out bad. The only way anyone's ever going to say that sentence is because I was dead. Like literally dead. That is the only way. So when I say things like that, I'm 37. Did I think this year was going to be what it was? No, like absolutely not. Today's day 109 for me. It's been 179. I've seen my 179 days. I've seen my kids 10 times, with the last time being 109 days ago, right? I live in an apartment with Christmas lights, gifts, and rooms. I can promise you I did not see this year going this way. But can I tell you that what has come of it absolutely guarantees a future far brighter than ever possible? Oh yeah, absolutely. And if you ever find yourself having to carry a cross and wear the thorns, that's your life, that's your call, that's what you were supposed to do. Like I don't make this stuff up. I feel like I have stigmata, right? Like somehow I got stigmata, and that's okay, that's fine. But it doesn't stop what we're doing. It doesn't change what we're doing. It still means we're gonna go forward, and can the future be bigger? And that's what it is. So that's the commentary on Rhino Bucks. That's the commentary on TED, which, by the way, I guess I could say it out loud. So I am putting together a case study as per the patent and sending that out to people I think would be interested in it. First and foremost, that video you just saw. I don't know how, I don't know whatever, but that man in that video is going to see what we're going to send. Whether he declines or not, it is what it is. but there's things happening where can you put yourself in a position in life where you just need someone to say yes? And that's a tough, people don't realize how, well, actually, how A, easy and how B, difficult it is, right? Because people are afraid to ask the question, so they never put themselves in a position for someone to say yes and change their life. But at the same time, if you're going to ask someone a question, you need to be able to offer something that you can stand behind and believe that they should say yes. Are we putting ourselves in a position that we have built something that somebody should say yes to? And if that somebody has the resources and et cetera, and actually is thinking out loud on TV while we have exactly what he's thinking out loud, does that put us in a position of that person saying yes or someone saying yes? And I think the answer is yes. So the question is, Howard Schultz, the founder of Starbucks, I think he went to 900 and something banks before someone funded it. What was it, Thomas Edison or whatever guy made the light bulb? 10,000 ways. Put me in a position where I have to send out 10,000 certified pieces of mail, someone will say yes. So, to be in a position where you just need someone to say yes, and now mind you, that's Ted and that's Rhino bucks, right? Like, we still have Take the Traders, like we still have things that we're doing, we still have recurring money coming in. And once we start getting those things out, we're then going to start promoting Rhino Bucks even more. Hey guys, by the way, this is Rhino Bucks. This is what it's worth. This is what we're sending out. This is, if you want to be a part of, if God forbid anyone ever says yes and own it at these levels, they're going to say, this is how, right? So there's a lot of fun that's about to happen for 2024, but does it look different than 2023, which looks different than 2022? Yeah, it does, like a lot different. In fact, there are a lot of people that are asking for redemptions, and of course, we're doing our best to make sure that we, in a responsible way, of course, can do what we can do. And a lot of the times, what people are saying is, this is very different than what I thought it was going to be. Yeah, I know. Welcome to my life. And that's not to say my life is supposed to be some type of hostage at you for your life, but again, we're in the same boat together. I've never looked at anyone as an investor or as an employee. Like, we're all team members. I've always said that. And although many might say, well, that's just a cute thing you say to kind of like, be equals. Well, here, let me prove it to you. When times are good, I'm like that. And when times are bad, I'm like that. So when someone says to me, hey, listen, things have changed. Yeah. Are we not in the same boat? Am I in a different boat than you? Like, are we not doing this together? Have I not offered and welcomed and solicited everyone's email all the time? Yeah, like this is where we're at. And if anyone wants to take a microcosm of like a 3 or 4 month period of time and say that's going to be representative of like 100-year lifetime, that's okay too. I'm okay with it. I can promise you that I really believe everyone's life is their own. You can make your own choices. I believe everyone has the right to make dumb decisions. I do. And I'm not saying this would be that. I'm just saying in general. And I do believe that everyone that makes dumb decisions has the right to learn whether it was the right or wrong thing, why it was the wrong thing, and do better. That's what I believe. And that's just, what I believe. So I'm always going to make the right decision, or at least what I believe to be the right decision. I'm always going to share it out loud. I'm always going to defend it. If somebody says, well, actually, Aunt, that wasn't the right decision because this, and this, I can promise you, and everyone in this, let me see. I'm just scrolling. And everyone in this call knows, especially everyone in this call. I think every single person at some point said, hey, Aunt, I don't think this is that. And I've said, thank you for telling me. I think you're right. Like, who remembers when we did the voiceover for that one skit with the Spanish person that passed away, where he's just laughing and laughing and laughing, and we did the subtitles with a Rhino thing. I actually had 3 or 4 people that say this is below what I ever thought Rhino would do. That person, they died of a particular disease. I think we're kind of poking fun for self-gain. I spent out. This is before AI, by the way. AI did not exist then. I spent hours matching up the person's mouth movements, how many seconds. Let me find a sentence that has 8 words in it, because this sentence is 8 words, but that sentence has to corroborate with the previous sentence, which was 7 seconds. And still got rid of it that day. And that hurt. because I really like, I thought that was good, but people made sense. Like I agreed. You know, you can't play the hand you want. You play the cards you're dealt. It's just the way life is. So that's that. Um, I have a lot to do with Rhino, but also a lot to do in general. So I'm kind of thinking that we take a little bit of no, you know what? I'll still do these calls, and then let's take next week off for Christmas. We'll take the whole week off. So I will complete this week, and we'll do emails next week. I just there's things that need to get done, and I need to do them. So I just need as much time as I could get. And I think next week it is Christmas, so I think everyone could. All right, let's take the week, the holidays. Everyone enjoys the holidays because there's nothing. If there's something pertinent that's like, guys, you need to know this, duh, right? Like we'll send an email or something. But in terms of us being together, which I absolutely adore, I love it. I think next week is just enjoy the holidays with your family. For those that can, hug your kids, do it. All right, don't. All right, love you, love you, love you. I will see you tomorrow.